Hi friends, I'm Gopal Chandraja. I welcome you to my educational channel EG English Tutorial. My today's topic is tense. I have already brought two videos on tense part first and tense part second. In tense part second, I have discussed tense, its definition, examples, and simple present tense. In tense part second, I have discussed present continuous tense, present perfect tense, present perfect continuous tense, and past tense, simple past tense, past continuous tense, past perfect tense, and past perfect continuous tense. So let us study present perfect continuous tense. Present perfect continuous tense is used to speak of such actions that started sometime in the past and is still continuing. So in present perfect continuous tense, the action starts at some point of time in the past, and then it continues in the past and stops in the past. Its pattern is subject, has been or have been, and verb combined with ing. So here in present perfect continuous tense, the action starts at some point of time in past, then continues, and then also stops in the past. And the pattern is there. I have already marked it blue. Let us go for examples now. In affirmative sentence, negative sentence, interrogative sentence, and negative interrogative sentence. So, first affirmative sentence is I have been writing a letter. Negative is I have not been writing a letter. Interrogative sentence is have I been writing a letter. Negative interrogative is have I not been writing a letter. Then other examples are we have been writing a letter, we have not been writing a letter, have we been writing a letter, have we not been writing a letter. Then you have been writing a letter, you have not been writing a letter, have you been writing a letter, have you not been writing a letter. Then he has been writing a letter, he has not been writing a letter, has he been writing a letter, has he not been writing a letter. Then she has been writing a letter, she has not been writing a letter, has she been writing a letter, has she not been writing a letter, they have been writing a letter, have they been writing a letter. So these are the sentences. Some sentences have got deleted here. Here should have been Sanjay has not been writing a letter should have been here, and at this place should have been had Sanjay and Leela been writing a letter. So this sentence got deleted. It does not matter. Let us see the use of present perfect continuous tense. There are many examples. Use of present perfect continuous tense. So present perfect continuous tense is used to speak of an action that began at some point of time in the past and is still continuing. So present perfect continuous tense. Here the action starts in the past and it continues through the present. And when at what point of time it will stop, nobody knows. But it is certain that the action will stop. So here the action starts in the past, continues through the present, and stops in future. So the examples are he has been working in the field since morning. It means in the morning he is working and since then he is there in the field, and when he will stop working we can't say. Similarly, you have been listening to me. You have been listening to me for more for more than 2 hours. For more than should have been here. You have been listening to me for more than 2 hours. It means 2 hours ago you started listening to me, and since then you have been listening to me. You can see next example. She has been teaching you for 2 months. Means she started teaching 2 months ago, and since then she has been teaching you. Now it has been raining since noon. It means it started raining in the noon, and since then it has been raining non-stop. Yes, so these are the examples. It has been raining since noon. The rain started at noon. It started raining at noon, and since then it has been raining non-stop. So these are the examples. He has been working in the field since morning. You have been listening to me for more than 2 hours. She has been she has been teaching you for 2 months, and she has been raining. It has been raining since noon. So this was present perfect continuous tense. Now you see, past tense I have taught you. Past tense, in this tense the action in this tense is used to speak of an action completed at some point of time in the past, and we have discussed uh, its examples. We have seen its examples and uses also. Here I will go for past continuous tense. So we have read this past continuous tense also. Now we must go for past perfect tense. Past perfect tense also we have gone through. We have already gone through past perfect tense. Okay. Now use of past perfect tense that I would like to explain here. This is the use of past perfect tense. So let us see. Past perfect tense is used to speak of an action completed before another action in the past. When two actions are taking place in the past, then past perfect tense is used to speak of the action that takes place first. Okay, him, I had met him before. I knew him as I had met him before. So here two actions are taking place. I knew him and I had met him before. So this is in past perfect tense because this action I knew him. I knew him as I had met him before. Then the patient had died before the doctor arrived. The patient had died before the doctor arrived. Then the train had left before I reached the station. Then the patient had died after the doctor had left. Then the train left after I had boarded uh, the train left after I had boarded it. So here past tense has been used to speak of an action completed before another action in the past. In all these sentences, two actions are taking place, but one action is taking before the other. So to talk about the action that takes place first, the action that takes place before the other action, we use past perfect tense. Now, dog started barking. It had seen a stranger. So the dog had already seen a stranger and then it started barking. So the other sentence is in past perfect tense. This action happens before this action. First, the dog saw a stranger and then it started barking. So the dog started barking because it had seen a stranger. Now, past perfect tense is used to speak of an action completed before a certain point of time in the past. The examples are: she had prepared her lessons before entering the class. He had taken my permission before entering the office. The mechanic had repaired the car before I reached him. The children clapped after I had finished my speech. These are the examples you can see. Now let us read past perfect continuous tense. So here, past perfect continuous tense is used to speak of an action that began in the past and since then it had been going on till a certain point of time in the past. So in past perfect continuous tense, when the action begins in the past or when the action starts in the past and then continues in the past and then it stops there in the past, that is, in one point of time in the past the action starts and then it continues, and after that at another point of time the action stops. So this is called these sentences are said to be in the past perfect continuous tense. The action starts in the past, continues in the past, and also completes in the past. That is why it is called past perfect continuous tense. Its pattern is subject plus had been plus verb 1 combined with ing. So this is the pattern you can see. Now its examples in affirmative sentence, in interrogative sentence, and negative interrogative sentence. Then see the examples. I had been writing a letter. Its negative is I had not been writing a letter. Had I been writing a letter, it's interrogative. Then had I not been writing a letter is negative interrogative. Okay. So let us see that. So the sentence got deleted here. Let us see other examples. We had been writing a letter. We had been writing a letter. We had not been writing a letter. Had we been writing a letter? The color is not coming. Had we not been writing a letter? Let us see. You had been writing a letter. You had not been writing a letter. Had you been writing a letter? Had you not been writing a letter? Then other examples are: he had been writing a letter. He had not been writing a letter. Had he been writing a letter? Had he not been writing a letter? She had been writing a letter. She had not been writing a letter. Had she been writing a letter? Had she not been writing a letter? Another examples are: they had been writing a letter. They had not been writing a letter. Had they been writing a letter? Had they not been writing a letter? Then Sanjay had been writing a letter. Sanjay had not been writing a letter. Had Sanjay been writing? Sanjay had not been writing a letter. Had Sanjay been writing a letter? Had Sanjay not been writing a letter? Then Sanjay and Leela had been writing a letter. Sanjay and Leela had not been writing a letter. Had Sanjay and Leela been writing a letter? Had Sanjay and Leela not been writing a letter? So these were the examples of past perfect continuous tense. Here the action starts in the past and then continues in the past and also stops in the past. Now we are going to read future tense. So in future tense we first of all we have simple future tense. Simple future tense. Simple future tense. Simple future tense is used to speak of future actions. Okay, future actions means these actions have not yet taken place. When an action has not yet taken place but it is to be taken place in future, these are called future actions. Future actions indicate the actions taking place in the future time. Okay, its pattern is subject, will, shall, or be one. First form of the verb. We we use subject. First we take subject, then will or shall, and then verb one. Original form of the verb. Its examples you can see in affirmative sentences. Okay, these are the examples. In negative sentences, these are the examples. In interrogative sentences, these are the examples. In negative interrogative sentences, these are the examples. So we have first in affirmative sentence, I shall write a letter. I shall not write a letter. Shall I write a letter? Shall I not write a letter? Then we have we shall write a letter. We shall not write a letter. Shall we write a letter? Shall we not write a letter? Then we have you will write a letter. You will write a letter. You will not write a letter. Will you write a letter? Will you not write a letter? Then we have he will write a letter. He will not write a letter. Will he write a letter? Will he not write a letter? After this we have she will write a letter. She will not write a letter. Will she write a letter? Will she not write a letter? Then they will write a letter. They will not write a letter. Will they write a letter? Will they not write a letter? Then Sanjay will write a letter. Sanjay will not write a letter. Will Sanjay write a letter? Will Sanjay not write a letter? Affirmative, negative, interrogative, and negative interrogative. These four examples I have given you. Four types of sentences are here. Then again, Sanjay and Leela will write a letter. Sanjay and Leela will not write a letter. Will Sanjay and Leela write a letter? Will Sanjay and Leela not write a letter? Now there is a note. Let us see. It contains an important piece of information. Generally, shall is used with INV and will is used with all others for denoting future time. Yeah, this is the general rule. This is a general rule. Shall is used with INV and will is used with you, he, she, it, and all others. But in particular cases, when we have to convey some special meaning, then shall can be used with any subject and will also can be used with any subject. Later on, I will make a video explaining the rules about the use of shall and will. That time I will talk about these verbs, these models. But nowadays, will has got acceptance. Nowadays, saying that will should be used. Okay, many people do not use shall because of the confusion it creates. So if you don't want to create any confusion, use will. However, shall has not lost its importance. Shall is also in use, and in formal occasions you will have to use shall and will both. Where shall is required, you have to use shall, and where will is required, you will have to use will. So you must know the use of shall and will both. Since it is a bit of confusing, therefore many people have started avoiding the use of shall. They only use will, but it is not good. Shall and will both should be used, both have their own values. Now use of simple future tense. Let us see use of simple future tense. Number one, The simple future tense is used in the following cases. Number first is to talk about a future action. The example is I shall meet my friend in the evening. Arrive tomorrow. You will get success very soon. They will be very happy to see you. My school will reopen next month. So these are future actions. So will has been used here. Will and shall both have been used here. Then second use is simple future tense is used to speak what we think, believe or hope. They believe they will earn more profits. So I hope it will rain today. Perhaps they will be pleased to see us. So examples convey our thinking, our belief, our hope that we think, believe or hope will happen in future. Next, after this, we have future continuous tense. It is also very important. Let us read future continuous tense. So, what is future continuous tense? This tense is used to speak of an action which will be going on at some point of time. So, when the action is going on at some point of time in future, it is said to be in future continuous tense. Here the action starts in future and then it continues in at some point of time in future. Okay, the action starts at some point of time in future and then it continues there. Its pattern is subject, shall be, will be, and verb 1 combined with ing. Now see examples. In examples, first affirmative sentences, then negative sentences, then we have interrogative sentences, and then negative interrogative sentences. So first example is I will be writing a letter tomorrow this time. I will not be writing a letter tomorrow this time. I shall be writing a letter tomorrow at this time. Shall I not be writing a letter? So these are the examples. You can see other examples are also there. We will be writing a letter tomorrow at this time. Then we will, then she will, shall we be writing a letter at this time? Shall we be writing a letter tomorrow at this time? Then shall we not be writing a letter tomorrow at this time? Then we have you will be writing a letter tomorrow at this time. Then you will not be writing a letter tomorrow at this time. Then will you not be writing a letter tomorrow at this time? Then he or she will be writing a letter tomorrow at this time. She will not be writing a letter tomorrow at this time. Will he or she be writing a letter tomorrow at this time? Will she not be writing a letter tomorrow at this time? Then they will be writing a letter tomorrow at this time. They will not be writing a letter at this. They will not be writing a letter tomorrow at this time. Will they be writing a letter tomorrow at this time? Will they not be writing a letter tomorrow at this time? Then let us. Sanjay will be writing a letter tomorrow at this time. Sanjay will not be writing a letter tomorrow at this time. Will Sanjay be writing a letter tomorrow at this time? Will Sanjay not be writing a letter tomorrow at this time? Then we have Sanjay and Leela will be writing a letter tomorrow at this time. Sanjay and Leela will not be writing a letter tomorrow at this time. Then will Sanjay and Leela be writing a letter tomorrow at this time? Will Sanjay and Leela not be writing a letter tomorrow at this time? So these sentences are in future continuous tense where the action starts in future and continues at a particular point of time. The action starts at a particular point of time and then it continues there and then stops. So now use of future continuous tense. The first use is Future continuous tense is used to speak about the actions continuing in future. Means the actions that are going on in future. If anything is going on, if anything is happening in future, then we express it in future continuous tense. Example, she will be attending her classes. So this is a future action. She will be attending her classes. Then Lata will be singing. Virat will be playing. She will be dancing. I will be attending a meeting. Children will be playing in the ground. These are future actions. They will be continuing at some point of time in future. Then future continuous tense is used to speak about the action that will happen at a certain situation. So when there is a certain situation and uh, under that situation some action is happening in future, then we use future continuous tense. So we use future continuous tense to speak about an action that will be happening at a certain situation. These actions are prompted by some situation, the available situation, we can say. The children will be shouting as their mothers go away. So the situation is when mother away, the children will be shouting. Then the children will be shouting as their mothers go away. Then similarly, the greenhouse gases will be increasing until we do something to stop it. Then if we do not do anything to stop the increase of greenhouse gases, then they will be increasing. So the situation should be that their growth, their increase should be stopped. Will be dying until a vaccine of corona is brought. Yeah, this is the situation. If the vaccine of corona is brought, then men will not be dying. But until a vaccine of corona is brought, men will be dying. Then take another example. Future continuous tense is used to talk about planned actions. So when we some plan, for example, I will be staying here till Monday. This is my plan. He will be teaching the children till evening. She will be counseling you till you correct your ways. We will be working here till next week. The police will be coming soon. So these are plans. Then we have future perfect tense. Future perfect tense. So what is future perfect tense? Let us see. Future perfect tense is used to speak of the actions that will be completed by some point of time in future. So future perfect tense is used to speak of the actions that will be completed by some point of time in future. Its pattern is, you can say, see the pattern, shall will subject, then shall plus have plus have three, verb three, third form of verb, that is past participle. So subject, shall will, then have, then past participle of the main verb. Examples are affirmative sentence, negative sentence, interrogative sentence, and negative interrogative. Affirmative sentence, the first affirmative sentence that I have written in example is I will have written a letter tomorrow. I will not have written a letter tomorrow. This is a negative sentence. Then interrogative will be shall I not have written a letter tomorrow? Then you see we will have written a letter by tomorrow. We will not have written a letter by tomorrow. Negative sentence. Shall we not have written a letter by tomorrow? This is an interrogative sentence. That is, it is a question. Then shall we not have written a letter by tomorrow? This is negative, negative interrogative. Negative and interrogative, both types tomorrow. Sanjay and Leela will not have written a letter by tomorrow. Then will Sanjay and Leela have written a letter by tomorrow? Then will Sanjay and Leela not have written a letter by tomorrow? So these are examples of present perfect. Now let us see the use of present perfect tense. The use of present perfect tense is tense to speak of actions that will be completed by a certain point of time in future. Present perfect tense is used to speak of the actions that will be completed by a certain point of time in future. Examples are I will have learned tense by tomorrow. So then we will have built a house by next year. So these actions will be completed by tomorrow, completed by a certain point of time in future. I will have learned tense by tomorrow. So tomorrow is a certain point of by when I will have learned tense. We will have built a house by next year. So next year is that point of time by when I will have built a house. Then she will have got a job in 2 years time. We shall have we shall have covered our syllabus by the end of this month. So these are the things. Next, let us read future perfect continuous tense. Future perfect continuous tense is also very important. Let us read this and understand this. So future perfect continuous tense is used to speak of an action that begins at some point of time in future and then continues in future. So here in future perfect continuous tense, the action starts in future, continues in future, and then also stops in future. Subject, then shall or will, then have been, then we won. First form of the verb. First form of the verb. Now example, we have affirmative sentence, negative sentence, interrogative sentence, then we have negative interrogative sentence. Let us see the examples. I will have been writing a letter means I will start writing a letter in future, then um, I will continue it, I will keep writing in future, and then I will stop it. So I will have been writing a letter. I will not have been writing a letter. Then shall I have been writing a letter? And shall I not have been writing a letter? So this is affirmative sentence, the negative sentence, then interrogative sentence, then negative interrogative sentence. Then let us see other examples. Been writing a letter, we will not have been writing a letter. Shall we have been writing a letter? Shall we not? Then you will have been writing a letter, you will not have been writing a letter. Will you have been writing a letter? Will you not have been writing a letter? Then he will have been writing a letter. It's negative, he will not have been writing a letter. Will he have been writing a letter? Will he not have been writing a letter? She will have she will have been writing a letter. She will not have been writing a letter. Will she have been writing a letter? Will she not have been writing a letter? They will have been writing a letter. They will not have been writing a letter. Will they have been writing a letter? Will they not have been writing a letter? Then we have Sanjay will have been writing a letter. Sanjay will not have been writing a letter. Will Sanjay have been writing a letter? Will Sanjay not have been writing a letter? Then we have Sanjay and Leela will have been writing a letter. Then Sanjay and Leela will not have been writing a letter. And will Sanjay and Leela have been writing a letter? And will Sanjay and Leela not have been writing a letter? So these were the examples of present future perfect continuous tense. Now let us see the example of the use of future perfect continuous tense, where future perfect continuous tense is used. Let us see the use of first use is future perfect continuous tense is used to speak of the continuance of some action for a long time in future. So when we think that any action will continue for a long time in future, there we use future continuous tense. So he will have been running his business. So he will have been running this sentence means that he will have been running his business in future for a long